What if 10 million sats could change your life? No, not 10 million pounds, 10 million sats. That's zero point 0.1 of a Bitcoin. Today, I'll show you why that tiny slice can be a game changer, even if you feel late to the party.
6 months have been tremendous. All of the fundamental planets have aligned. Bitcoin's been acknowledged as the one digital commodity in the world by the administration. The banking regulators have given a green light to bank Bitcoin. The accountants have upgraded the accounting to fair value accounting. There's been a surge of Bitcoin treasury companies. There's like 100 public companies or more that are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and every single week there's another announcement. I think that, it used to be we're focused on the halvings, but at this point, the entire natural supply of Bitcoin is only 450 Bitcoin available for sale every day. That's sort of about $50 million a day at this level. That is all being consumed by the Bitcoin treasury companies, and the Bitcoin ETFs are coming on strong. So I'm very bullish. My forecast in July of last year in Nashville was Bitcoin's going to appreciate 29% a year on average for the next 21 years. And that moves it from, it was about mid 60, 65,000 to 13 million a coin in the year 2045. I'm getting more bullish on that forecast, but I'm certainly comfortable forecasting 30% a year ARR on average for the next 20 years. I think Bitcoin's up 57% a year for the past 4.5 years. Again, that's double the Mag 7. That's quadruple the S&P. That's 8 times real estate, and bonds are down 4%. So Bitcoin is smashing everything, Joe.
Here's the core idea. Bitcoin is a scarce digital asset with a hard cap of 21 million coins. 0.1 Bitcoin equals 10 million sats. That's your target. Most people own 0. Holding even a small, reasonably sized position gives you a really high upside. Your downside is what you put in, but the potential upside over the long horizon can be many multiples of your adoption. Everyone thought they were late at £100, £1,000, £10,000, and now soon £100,000 Bitcoin. But the thing is, you're never too late. It's going to the moon to make sure you buy as many sats as you can, and holding 0.1 of a coin can change your life. I mean, in the next 10 years, we're more than likely going to 100 times investment. So having 0.1 of a coin will make you a millionaire. So if you look at it like that, it makes sense, stack sats. But in the exponential future, the cap is unlimited, because the dollar, the pound, every single currency is going to flood into Bitcoin, because it's the only capital that's scarce, that you can send 24/7. So you don't have to ask the bank, can I send this? Can you do that? It doesn't close over the weekend. It's a scarce asset that you can send 24/7. You don't have to ask for permission, as I just said. And it's an asset that they're not going to print more of. So, for example, the pounds, the dollars, the euros, you can print more of it. It all the time goes down in value. Over the past 100 years, the dollar is down 90-odd%. And the pound is going down as well, because all they do is they keep raising inflation by printing more, which means you work harder, not smarter. A lot of people are complaining that they're struggling to live, to buy what they need to buy. Like groceries are getting more and more expensive because obviously they're inflating their currency. Whereas you need to buy an asset that you can't print, because this will protect your wealth. The rich right now are gearing up for the future. I honestly think we're entering a crypto super cycle, and we're about to absolutely send it. The Fed in the US have just cut rates. This is massive. This means that they can print more money at a cheaper rate, and that's why they've cut rates. Trump has created a Bitcoin reserve because they've got $37 trillion of debt. How do you default on that debt? How do you sort that debt? You can't default on it because obviously $37 trillion has got to be paid. But it's like, if I owe you £20, I've got 2 options. The first option is I pay you it back, or the second option is I tell you, sorry, I can't pay that back. Well, the US can't do that. They can't turn around and say, we're not going to pay $37 trillion of debt. So they've got a third option. They devalue their currency against an asset. Well, what asset currently outperforms everything at the minute? Well, that is Bitcoin. So all they have to do is they have to devalue their currency against that asset that's going to exponentially grow. So currently, Bitcoin this year is up over 100%, and I honestly think it'll probably end up being 200% by the end of the year. They've just dropped the rates. There's a treasury being built. Everyone's about to print as much money as they possibly can to get out of their debt crisis. The big cycle is coming. Make sure to get 0.1 of a coin before it's too late. That 0.1 of a coin roughly at the minute is £8,000. But by the end of the year, I honestly think we could be double that, £16,000. And it's going to keep going up and up and up. As I say, when it 100 times, that's going to be 800,000. So that 800,000, if you then want to join in and gain 20+% per year, you've got to have £800,000 to own 0.1 of a coin. And obviously each year the ceiling gets higher and higher. Why put your money in real estate? Like, yeah, you can own a house, but owning a house, you only earn a percentage. And even then you get taxed on it. In Bitcoin, you just hold it. You hold it, you put it in a secure wallet. I hold mine in Ledger personally, but you have your own key and then no one can access it. You have control of your money, whereas your money in the bank, let's say they go bankrupt, they'll go, sorry, we don't have it. Good luck, like basically good luck to you. Like all your money is in a bank is just money on a screen. And people, honestly, everyone around the world think they're safe. But if you look at what's going on and the people that are losing their money and can't get it because of banks closing down and things like that, and as I say, inflation, your money's just sat there. At the end of the day, money's just a bit of paper that they created. Like back in the day, money used to be attached to gold and it used to be on a gold standard. But when they come off the gold standard in 1971, that's when inflation started kicking in. And obviously everyone around me, especially my age, keep going, well, my dad's got houses and look at what they've got. They've got 10 houses and they've done well buying houses. So I turn around and say to them, I says, well, ignore your dad, for example. Go and buy yourself a house on your own without family and then tell me, and then pay them bills, pay everything that you owe. Tell me how you're going to live an amazing life building money, buying houses. You tell me how you're going to get your second house. Let's say you're the average person earning 30,000 a year. How are you going to get enough money to then buy your next house, to then rent that out to make your next money to be able to buy another house? Tell me how you're going to do that before you manage to pass away and die without getting lucky, get hit in the lottery or anything like that, because the average person can't do that. This Bitcoin makes it possible for anyone to earn good money. You need to look into it. You need to see why it's important. You need to see why everyone's doing it. And it's honestly the future. Like, it's scarce. You need to get it now before it's too expensive. We're soon going to explode. Big companies getting treasuries for it. The UK are talking about adopting it. Nigel Farage was saying that if he gets in power, he'll create a Bitcoin reserve in London. Honestly, it's everywhere. It's not on the news at the minute, but imagine this, right? Let's say the government go out there and say, we've got a debt problem. And they let it on national TV and everyone freaks out and says, this is the solution. Buy Bitcoin, do this. This is how everyone's going to get rich and get out of this crisis. Well, there would be a financial crisis instantly. Like, don't get me wrong, there is one, but like, imagine what it would do to the economy. Like, everything would just burn and crash. Everything would go mental. Bitcoin would be 10 million overnight. Like, literally, if everyone bought into it, because all of the big companies are silently buying it. All the rich people understand that you can't beat inflation. Inflation, like in the US, the dollar has dropped 12% of its value this year. So why would you want to hold? Obviously, everything's crashing. Like, if you look at all of the economies, like the Turkish lira and all of these things that you have to have thousands of. I think the Turkish lira, you have to own 200 coins or something silly to get one to the pound. So imagine if you are a millionaire in pounds, but then you want to convert that to lira, you would have excessive amounts of lira. Do you know what I mean? Like, the currencies are crashing, everything's failing, but everything's failing gradually, but it's getting faster and faster and faster. People need to understand that Bitcoin is the future and the safe haven that that's come into life. Like everything's gone digital. Like, and if you really look at everything, at one point we didn't have Apple Pay. At one point we didn't have online banking. We used to have checks and things like that. If you look at the gradual like expansion to where we're going, this is now where they slowly close the banks and it goes online. You can send it through without a middleman. You can just send it to anyone in the world without you can literally just go, right, I want to send this to my mate in Australia, and all I've got to do is click a button and it sends. I don't need to ask. The bank don't ring me and say, oh, that's £10,000. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, it's when you go to buy Bitcoin, they're like obviously worried about it because you're putting your money elsewhere. They don't want you to move your money because obviously that's their business in a way. I had my partner buy some Bitcoin not long ago. I think they bought £5,000 and they were on the phone to her saying, are you sure? I think they was on the phone to her about 15 minutes, making sure, are you sure you want to do this transaction? Trying to keep her on. And obviously she did because she understands what's going on, because obviously I explained to her like things are devaluing. You need to put your money somewhere in a hard asset. Things are going to get really tough. They're going to print more money, more rate cuts to come. People keep saying, oh, inflation's low, inflation's low. Well, it's not. Like, you buy an energy drink, it's probably £2+ an energy drink. Like that's ridiculous for a drink. Like a bar of chocolate, depending on where you go, can be £2. Like, I remember buying bars of chocolate for 50p about 7 years ago, and people are saying there's no inflation. That's a massive increase. You need to protect your money. You need to put it in a hard asset, and that's Bitcoin. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure to like. It really helps with the algorithm. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for notifications. We go really in depth talking about Bitcoin, why you should be doing it. The next video, I'm going to be talking about it really in depth, why you need to buy Bitcoin rather than buying a house. Or if you've got a mortgage, don't pay off your mortgage, buy Bitcoin. Because in the long term, this will pay off your mortgage and also give you freedom so that you can retire early. But long story short, you really need to get 0.1 of a Bitcoin, because yeah, you can own one Bitcoin, but and obviously don't get me wrong, I don't blame you. If you can get one Bitcoin, do it. But 0.1 of a Bitcoin can honestly change your life in probably, I'm talking 10, 20 plus years, because obviously what will happen is it'll be 1 million Bitcoin growing 20% a year. You're going to be gaining 20% a year. So that makes your million 1.2 million and so on and so on. The good thing about this is eventually you get to a point where all you have to do is just hold the coin, and you don't want to sell it, because this is where people go wrong. They might have 1 million, right? You sell it. Then what do? You're probably going to spend it for starters. And even then, you're going to slowly devalue again, because you're holding a currency that's inflating and crashing in value. And obviously buying power is not as good. Whereas if you hold that, growing 20% a year, which compounds, and obviously even if you're still working as well, you can keep putting more and more in, which will compound even more. Whereas if you sell that, you get taxed on it, so you'll get capital gains on it at a minimum of probably 30% or more. Obviously, the things might change in the coming years, but why would you want to lose that? So let's say you got 1 million, they're going to take 30%, poof. So you're left with 700,000 straight away, right? And then what's going to happen is they're going to tax it. You're then going to deflate the value of it, so it's going to be worth less and less and less. And then what do? You're going to spend it. And then you're going to be back in the situation where you're struggling, because even if you buy a nice house with it, you got to pay for them bills, etc. My plan is to hold it forever, let it grow in value. Once it's grown in value, I want to eventually take a small loan against it. So I'm not going to take a stupid loan. I'm not going to take like 100%, 50%. You take a small loan. So let's say you got 1 million, you take a 5% loan against it, which is 50,000. That 50,000 is cash flow that you can buy stuff with. Well, you're going to be like, why are you going to take debt against your asset? Well, you don't pay tax. You don't pay tax on it. So your money, let's say it goes 20% up, so you're gaining money. But then you owe whatever percent. Let's go really aggressive. Let's say you owe 10% on that loan. So that 50,000, you then owe 60,000. Well, you've just gained 200,000 this year on its own in profit, and you've taken a small loan. So what you do is you allow so much of your loan to pay it off each. So you take £50,000, you allow probably a year's worth aside to pay it off. Obviously, this is on a small amount. If you had more, this works even better. But this is what the rich do. They pay it off gradually. And then when they take another loan out the next year, they kill it off, and then they keep siphoning money. So you don't use the full amount of that 50. You keep a bit apart to allow to pay it for the year, and at the end of the year, you then take another loan and you pay it off, and you keep recycling it. So yeah, you are always in debt, but the cycle means you get richer. If you look at Elon Musk, he doesn't own cash. He takes loans against his stocks, Tesla, and obviously he's got like 300 billion or 400 billion net worth. He takes loans against it, and then obviously he just siphons it and just lives as he needs to and buys what he needs to and gets richer, richer and richer. The rich knows this. The poor think, oh, debt's bad, debt's bad. Well, it is bad if you own debt in the wrong things, get a car finance that you can't afford and things like that. Whereas if you're using it on an asset that's growing in value and you're getting richer, then it's completely the right thing to do. So basically from this video, what I'm saying it to you is you need to accumulate and try to get 0.1 of a coin. Don't get me wrong. If you can get more, do so. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you own any Bitcoin, and how much do you own, or what are your goals? What are you wanting to achieve? Are you wanting to achieve 1 coin, 10 coins, 0.1 of a coin, half a coin? Where are you at? Where do you want to be? What do you think? Do you think we're going to be 200,000 by the end of the year? Because I honestly think we're on for an absolute stonker end of this year. The rates have just been cut. People are buying, the money supply is rising. I think we're going to the moon. So let me know. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.